Hello, Newport News. Thank you for tuning into Community Connections. I am Sarah Bowman with the Newport News Department of Communications, and I'm excited to have a really engaging panel with me here today to talk about programs that support infants, youth, and their families in Newport News and beyond. So actually, let's just jump right into it. I'm joined today by Hal Smith, President and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Virginia Peninsula, Reagan Johnson, the Executive Director of Alternatives, and Lorraine Leach, a prenatal resource specialist with Smart Beginnings. So thank you all for joining us and for this conversation that we're going to have. Hal, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about Boys and Girls Club.
Well, Boys and Girls Clubs were part of the National Boys and Girls Clubs of America movement. We have been serving kids on the peninsula for over 75 years. We serve school-age kids ages 6 to 18 by providing after-school programs and summer programs.
Great. I didn't realize you all had been around that long in this community.
That's right, and I've been had the privilege of being the president and CEO for about 6 years now, and I'm only the 5th leader of our organization. So we've had a lot of stability and tenure within our organization.
And that says a lot about the organization.
It does. Yes, it does.
Excellent. And Lorraine, tell us a little bit about Smart Beginnings.
Okay, well, Smart Beginnings, of course, is a nonprofit organization here in Newport News. Our full title is Smart Beginnings Virginia Peninsula. And what we do is work to get children 0 to 5. That's a very important stage of learning. So we want to make sure that children 0 to 5 are being raised healthily and that they are getting educated as best as they can. So that's just, like I said, a really important time in their life. And we have several programs that we offer that allow us to do that. Some of them being programs that are that go out to the children in schools and help them there. We also, very importantly, work with child care and help provide people resources for child care providers. And then, of course, we also do prenatal screenings, which is a very big part of what we do.
Interesting. So before they get to Hal and his team, you work with them.
Yes.
Excellent. And then Reagan, your programs really run the gamut. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Alternatives has been in the community since 1973. So again, a longstanding presence here. We do serve a variety of ages, starting with preschool, all the way up to young adults, as well as their families here in the community. And those programs are done sometimes in the schools during the day or in the early childhood centers during the day. And Alternatives also runs after-school programming that we can talk about here in Newport News with our partnership with Newport News Public Schools. And then we have opportunities for families to empower our families and strengthen their skills here in the community. And so we offer a wide variety of services in the community.
Great, and I know from firsthand experience just how great your programs are. So during COVID, I'm spending a lot of time at home with my 3 to 4-year-old, and I participated in your mindful parenting class.
Yes.
So tell us about that, because we enjoyed it.
Oh, I love it. So Alternatives offers mindful parenting, which is one of our programs. We were getting feedback, like you said, during COVID, but just in general. I mean, things are hectic and busy and stressful for our families. And so one program that we offer is mindful parenting, and we tailor that. We have done it in person with groups in the community. We also have a virtual mindful parenting class, which was perfect for families during COVID. And that particular program really helps families, I think, based on their feedback, that slowing down, that paying attention, that how do we manage stress, how do we really be focused and present for our children, even as adults, working and all of our responsibilities. And then when we get home, our children need our attention. So we really teach parents some tools and give them some resources on how to do that.
Excellent. And yes, it was a great program. So I encourage everyone to check it out.
I love it.
And Lorraine, mental health and stress, I think of those terms when I think of people who might be expecting, especially for the first time. So can you talk a little bit about the support you offer expectant families?
Absolutely. One of the things that we do is we partner with doctors' offices, OBGYNs. We partner with the WIC office, with Healthy Families, which is a very big part of what we do. And when we get in touch with those women who are pregnant, We go through some questions to find out more about them, because what we want to do is make sure that we're tailoring what we give them to things that are specific to them. So once we start asking questions, if we do run into some issues that are creeping in with being nervous about being pregnant, not knowing what to expect, we can offer them things like healthy families who would do home visiting and actually could come and help them really prepare for the birth of their child. And along with just preparing for the birth of the child, all the stages that children go through, that can be so unnerving if you don't know what to expect. So we do provide them with a lot of information and with the resources that could really help them. If they're having some extra fears and they need some type of counseling, we also can refer them to places like CSB for some support. There are other places that, you know, we would talk to them about. These are places that you can go to, and we send them an email with all of those things listed. So when it comes to having a baby, if you're nervous, well, that's kind of expected. But we have a lot of things available, a lot of resources available that we can provide them so that they can maybe get over some of that nervousness and be more prepared. And that, of course, is critical, especially with first-time mothers and younger mothers. So we definitely want to provide them with as much information as possible. Like I said, referring them to the WIC program to make sure that their needs are being met for a for their food and to be healthy. So we kind of run the whole circle where we can help you while the baby is coming, and then of course once the baby's here, we're not going to let you go. So we will continue. Another thing we do is working with childcare, and that's so critical. Sometimes you don't know if you're new to the area, and we do have a lot of military families who may not know who can I turn to for childcare. That's something that Smart Beginnings can help with. We have a database that is full of childcare providers. So if someone when we find out you need childcare, we ask you some specifics about what it is you're looking for, the type of childcare you need, the ages and all of that information, and then we go into our database and find the appropriate childcare for you. Whether you're looking for a childcare provider who's a grandma type that's going to hold your baby on their knee all day, or if you're looking for a home daycare or child care where people are still going to have a curriculum of sorts for your children. Or of course, if you're looking for a child care center, we have that listing and we can take your needs and then give you some suggestions based on those needs. Excellent. So there's a lot that we do from start to finish, from 0 to 5, like I said. It's so important.
Great. And when I think of child care, Boys and Girls Clubs comes to mind. And it's so much more than childcare, though. When I hear your organization, I think of fun and enrichment. And I receive your Friday newsletters. And each week they seem to get longer and longer because there's so many good things taking place in your organization.
That's correct. And Boys and Girls Clubs, especially with our after-school program, you know, we want to provide those opportunities for kids when mom and dad are still working. Because we know the negative behaviors that can happen when kids aren't properly supervised and don't have a place to go. So the idea is with our clubs, we do not want to make it school 2.0. We do focus on education, career development, healthy lifestyles, character and leadership development, sports and recreation, and the arts. So in those 5 core areas, there's something there for every single kid that comes through our doors. And then some of the opportunities that we provide outside of the club. The idea is if kids say, oh, I got to go to this particular event, or I got to go to the Ferguson Center or the Mariners Museum because I'm a member of the Boys and Girls Club, then we've done our job. And then we get into career development and that type of thing. When kids get into high school, we want to help them figure out what is their plan going to be after school. And so there's just some great opportunities that they have for career exploration, college tours, and I could talk for the next 45 minutes and not even scratch the surface of what kids can experience when they come to our clubs. But yes, first and foremost, it's about having fun. It's about getting meals. It's about having a safe place to go with caring adults.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the older older youth that you serve? Because I was in the mindset of the young ones that you serve, but you do. Can you talk a little bit about the career development and how you help these younger?
Absolutely. So when our kids reach, middle school, really, that's when we want to start having them think about what is their plan after high school. If you look at the name of our organization, Boys and Girls Clubs, some kids think when they get to be 14 or 15, well, I'm not a boy or a girl anymore. Right. I'm a young adult. So we have to have a robust teen program that and a space within the club that the kids have that they can call their own. Our teens, where they're not having to share time with our 6 to 8 year olds or our 9 to 11 year olds, but it's a space to call their own. So one of those components, besides having a great place to go, is scratching the surface with that career development. And so we have a program called the YES Academy, which stands for Youth Employment Services. And it's a specialized program where our kids have the ability to learn about career exploration. They learn about financial literacy. They hear from speakers that come in from the outside and talk about communications or public service or politics or business. And then hopefully something, that light bulb turns on and that resonates with the kid to say, I might want to be a financial advisor. So then we can help kind of create that pathway for our kids.
And that's so needed for them to not just hear about the career, but also meet somebody and have a mentor that can support them in that way. So what's going on with alternatives now?
Yeah, so at Alternatives, opportunities for young people. If you are a family that has a young person, middle school, in Crittenden, Hines, Huntington, or Passage, Alternatives has after-school programming 4 days a week. So we encourage our families in Newport News who are looking for a after-school program that's already connected to their school through 21st Century to please reach out to us. We also have available a parent or family guidebook, and we created that during COVID in response to families who were really feeling like, it was a huge change for all of us and just needing resources. That guidebook is in partnership with Smart Beginnings, so I think it shows the value of community agencies working with one another. And so in partnership with Smart Beginnings, we created a guidebook for families. And the digital copy is on our website, and then you can contact our office and get hard copies as well. And also for Newport News young people, Alternatives has a group called the World Changers. I'm super excited about the World Changers. They named themselves. They're a group of young people that name themselves. And this is a group of young people that come from all different schools in Newport News. You don't have to be connected with a particular school. This group focuses on leadership development and civic engagement. And some of the things that they have done, they hosted a community webinar on youth mental health. They have also hosted a webinar with school board members, superintendent, teachers, counselors, to talk with them about the difficulty that they are having in a new environment and learning and feeling behind and just their social and emotional needs. So this is a group that really gets out into the community. They've also gone to General Assembly, they've gone and presented to City Council, school board, and so that is another opportunity for Newport News young people, middle school and high school. You can contact us and get more information, and the young people will call you back. It works better youth to youth, and so the young people will reach back out to them. But that's a wonderful opportunity and a group that we have going on year-round here in Newport News.
So I probably should have had just one-on-one presentations with each of you because there's so much going on. It's exciting, and I love to hear that there's so many opportunities for young people, for families in Newport News and beyond.
Absolutely.
Now, and I also like hearing that you engage with so many different similar organizations, but others as well. So what is, if you had to think about the top way that the community can support you, in addition to donations, because I know you're all nonprofits, you got to think about the donations, but what's another way that the community could support you, get involved? Anybody can go first.
I'll go. One way that the community could get involved is certainly the offerings that we have, whether they're in person or virtual, anything, letting us know what your needs are as well. We really try to tailor the offerings that we have for families based on family feedback. So we've done things like eating healthy on a budget. Mindful parenting is another great example. Cyberbullying, so what to do if your child is being bullied at school, or if your child is exhibiting those bullying behaviors, to others. So we encourage families to always let us know what their needs are so that we can present on that. We're always looking for volunteers and interns. We have a great partnership with CNU for interns, but we certainly will take other schools that can support and help our after-school program. Just like Hal was saying, that idea of exposing young people to different possibilities, different careers, things that maybe no one in their family has done, but hearing someone else talk about it in person and sparking that possibility for them. So we're always looking for folks that would be willing to come out and give us a little time to talk to our young people about what they do.
I would expand on that by saying getting some support from our business community. Again, you mentioned the financial support that we all need as nonprofits, but when we look at wanting to take our workforce readiness program or our Yes Academy to the next level, it's engaging not necessarily our large companies that are very great supporters of ours in our community, but some of the smaller businesses in Newport News where those owners or members of their team can come in and talk about the careers that they do, because we hear, I think a commonality that we hear in all walks of life, whether we're in nonprofit, public service, or private business, is personnel. And so we in Boys and Girls Clubs, and of course Alternatives and Smart Beginnings down the road, we have future employees. We have future leaders in our community. So how do we connect those dots so that if we've got a future firefighter or a future doctor, how do we provide that opportunity for those kids to achieve those dreams? So I think if we can engage the small business community a little bit more, not so much just again for the financial support, but really get connected and providing the mentoring aspect and the understanding of what that career entails, I think that will be a tremendous opportunity for our kids.
Now, are you thinking, oops, sorry.
No, I was going to say that's so true, because I came to Alternatives as a middle school kid. That was my first point of entry to Alternatives. Never imagining, someday I'd be sitting here as the executive director, but I think it speaks to the work that and the opportunities that we have here in the city for young people.
Absolutely.
And to, as you said, how to really invest in our young people, because they're our future leaders, they are our future personnel, and so I think it just shows the strength of our community when we are able to do that.
And we love seeing people achieve their dream, to really, in Newport News, to get the foundation they need, the skills, and really succeed here. And so with your Yes Academy, are you looking for, or just the organization in general, businesses to come to you? Are you looking for businesses where you all can go and explore, or a little of both? A
little of both.
Okay.
I mean, the ideal scenario would be if we have one of our classes and we have someone from, a business come in and talk a little bit about what they do, and then follow that up with an actual tour of the facility. I mean, when you look at some of our major corporations like Ferguson or Cannon or Newport News Shipbuilding, now in some cases there's, it's difficult to get on the premises there, but if people can really see, kind of behind the curtain, our kids can see what it entails to be a welder for the shipyard or that type of thing, then that way it's not just listening to the person come to you, you're able to go to them. So there's a tremendous opportunity. I mean, we had the same thing with a program with the Newport News Sheriff's Department. There are 2 sheriff's deputies now that went through a program that we developed with in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department, so that when our teens graduated from high school, they were 18 years old, they got to go through and actually be hired by the Sheriff's Department and work in an administrative function before they were able to go through the academy at 21. So it was an opportunity for them to experience being working for the Newport News Sheriff's Department, and so that was a real successful program that we've been able to foster. So partnerships like that we can go beyond into our private community as well.
That's great. And now, if I had a business, do I have to pay you to do this kind of work, or is it just a partnership we explore together?
It's a partnership we explore together.
It's a
and
win-win.
providing those opportunities, internships, you know, things like that. I mean, obviously with our work readiness program, you know, we have an operating budget to be able to run that, so it can be a little bit of both. There can be some, you know, there's some support for the program itself, and then some opportunities for our kids to intern at the you know, at the company.
Great. So there is no reason these businesses should not be getting involved
That's
with
right.
you all.
That's right.
Lots of chances. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say that piggybacking on a lot of what you both have said, mostly we're looking for the way the community can help us is to talk about us. If you've utilized our services, then by all means share that information and let more people know. We don't go out knocking on doors or anything like that. We don't have a lot of the programs that are going to be working with businesses per se. So if people who have used the services, who have benefited from them, just let the next person know. That would be awesome. And of course, we're always looking for volunteers as well. We have used volunteers from the local colleges, and it's worked out very nicely. Sometimes they get hired on as full-time, as part-time staff, or it certainly gives them something else to write on their resume. So it's definitely, like you said, something that we all are looking for, of the volunteers and for the community to talk more about us and what it is that we do.
Right. And that's why we, my co-host Quincy and I really tried to launch this program. It's to talk to you all that are doing this incredible work in our community. And I know you could share statistics about the number that you serve, but really a lot of us connect with the success stories. So I'm going to put you each on the spot. Do you have a success story that really comes to mind, that really resonates with you, about an individual that has really succeeded in your organization? You don't have to break confidentiality, but could you share a success story?
I think one recently. So one of our summer offerings is mindfulness and movement with kids. And it's been really challenging, not just for adults, but for our children and young people during the pandemic, but also just in general, just in looking at the news on any given day, or their own, even bringing closer to home experiences in the community. And so the mindfulness and movement program that we offer talks with kids about their feelings, what to do when they have big feelings, making good choices around that, how we manage our emotions, and friendship skills, and developing empathy and caring with others. And recently in that program, I was working with some third graders here in the community, and one of them said, "We love it so much because you let us talk about our feelings. And we have so many big feelings, and now we know what to do with them." And I think for me, that just shows in a very lovely way, just giving that space for children and youth in our community to talk about what they're experiencing and they're feeling, and how valuable that is.
That's great. And it shows the importance, yes, of exactly of what you're doing, and how important it is for people to have these kind of outlets. Who wants to go next?
So I really don't have one specific story that made a big mark. However, there are so many little stories. And in the case of, as a prenatal resource specialist, when I call that pregnant woman and start asking questions and talking to them, I have had several occasions where it gets very emotional, because that young person might be first baby, doesn't have a support group around, doesn't know who to turn to, and they get a lot of answers. They ask questions, well, I'm not sure what doctor to go to. So, well, I can send you information about that. And, well, I don't know, where can I get help with diapers or whatever? Well, I can tell you some information about that. And, I'm just so nervous. I don't know how to begin. Well, I can give you some information about that. And a lot of times, we don't want to go into like really, really long phone calls, but sometimes a phone call might take a good 30 minutes. And because that's just an individual who didn't have someone to talk to, and is just so willing and happy to have someone to share information with or to ask questions. And some of the questions even go beyond just the standard answers that I might have. A lot of times I refer to things that I've gone through as a grandmother with my own child and my grandchildren being born. And, so we talk about a lot of things. As of late, we've talked a lot more about women who wanted to go through a birthing experience with a doula, or going through, childbirth naturally. So we have information about that. And I've actually had women who have just cried because they were so thankful. And, they're just gushing all over themselves. Like, thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done without you. Because we gave them, first of all, the ear to listen and to ask them some questions so that it can kind of spur some more interest in what they're doing, and then just providing them with answers. So that good, warm, fuzzy feeling is something that I have at the end of every day. So
That's great.
yeah.
So I'm thinking back, this is a couple of years ago, we had a family that we served at our Greater Hampton Roads Club in downtown Newport News, and they were residents of Ridley Circle, and the kids started coming to the club, and they were coming to the club obviously because it was a place to go after school. They could, they could play sports, but they also got their afternoon snack and their meals through our Eat Smart program. So sometimes getting those basic needs have the kids coming. They come on a regular basis. When the kids got to be teenagers, they went through our Yes Academy. Again, I'm plugging our Yes Academy. They went through that program. They got to learn. They got to explore different careers. We had some volunteers that came in from Newport News Shipbuilding to talk a little bit about what they do at the shipyard. And both this brother and sister, when they graduated from high school, both got jobs at the shipyard. Now they're both welders, and they're making well over $30 an hour, probably even more with unemployment or with time and a half, overtime. So I think about that story, and I think about, would that have happened if they didn't come to our club? If if those volunteers from the shipyard didn't come and talk about what they do at the shipyard, and if the kids didn't take the easy way out and just come to the club, but they actually participated in a program that is some work, like the Yes Academy. Now they're financially benefiting, and they're making money that they probably never would have had the opportunity to make if they didn't go to some kind of after-school program. So that's one that always comes to mind for me.
And that's a great example too of just the young people, but also the importance of the volunteers and the community investing. Yes. And one thing that I've noticed is, as I'm talking to people in the community, if they've gone to the Boys and Girls Clubs, they're very proud, especially, like I've talked to people who are in their 40s and they still are very tight with their friends from the Boys and Girls Clubs.
That's right. And it's nationally, 70% of our alumni say that the club saved their life. And it was for some, the only opportunity in their community for a place to go after school. So there's a tremendous responsibility we have, and a tremendous responsibility our staff have to make those connections and those mentoring opportunities. And that's where the volunteers come in as well, because it's all about having kids realize that there's somebody out there that cares about you, cares about your success, and wants to see you succeed in life. But then after that, you have to give back.
Right. So it takes everyone
That's right.
chipping in. Yes. And so our program, it's really entailed, it's outreach for Newport News, but I know your service area is much greater than Newport News. So I would be remiss if I didn't give you the opportunity to share your service area so others can know I'm a York County resident, I'm a Hampton resident, but I can still get involved. So Lorraine, what is your service area?
We primarily do work with Newport News and Hampton.
Okay.
And on occasion, I just had someone who was from York County, and unfortunately, we don't go to York County. However, as the resource, I was able to provide her with the resources that she would be able to contact in York County. So, but primarily we are Hampton and Newport News.
But people shouldn't be afraid to pick up the phone and give you a call.
No, not at all. Now, when it comes to, that's for the prenatal resource, because we use specific, the Hampton WIC office and the Newport News WIC office. So that's a little more specific. But as far as looking for information about child care services, or the teaching that we do with the homeschool providers or home care providers, we actually do some training with them, so to make sure that the children are receiving quality care. So that area does go out throughout York, Poquoson, up through Williamsburg a little bit. You know, so yeah, we do reach out. So if they have any questions, all they have to do is call. And if we're not able to help, we can certainly point you in the right direction.
And you all go all over the place.
We do. So we have our largest footprint in the city of Newport News with our most locations, but we do reach Hampton, Yorktown, Gloucester, Matthews, and now James City County. So we've just opened up two satellite locations, one at James River Elementary in James City County, which is just past the Newport News border, and then one through another partnership with King of Glory Lutheran Church. So the idea is, you know, Virginia Peninsula, we do want to serve all kids in the peninsula, even though we serve most of our kids in Newport News.
Excellent.
Alternatives is similar as the other two in that our main groups served are Hampton and Newport News, but we do have early childhood centers that we work with in Williamsburg and James City County. We have a youth leadership academy in York County through York County Middle School that we work with, and then we recently started working with in-home providers in early childhood in Norfolk. But again, our family engagement events and services, please, you don't have to be connected with a particular school or location. We have even people from other states that come on to those online opportunities, so you can really be anywhere. So don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Well, I could talk to you three all day, and I'm sure we would have great conversations, but I know you are very busy. So we will share all of their contact information. I encourage everyone to go to the websites, to give them a call, and to get engaged and get involved in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's opening your wallets and donating to these very worthy organizations, but also rolling up your sleeves, volunteering, getting involved, even if it's just for a short time frame. We can each make a difference and really transform our community and uplift those around us. So thank you for joining me today, and thank you for tuning into Community Connections. Have a great day.